Good morning, Year Nines. Hope you're well and staying alert. Today we're going to be looking at how can biodiversity be maintained. So we're going to be talking about methods of preserving biodiversity or how to manage that biodiversity such that we still benefit from it, but at the same time try not to permanently damage it. But before I move on to talking about that, I just want to say a few words. Whilst in school last week, I watched the year nines who were in my class go through my lesson video. I noticed none of them paused the video to do the remember task, or none of them either stopped the video to answer the questions within the slides like we've been asking you to do. I want to just bring to your attention that the lessons at school normally last for 1 hour. Most of these videos are approximately 20 to 25 minutes long. You can watch this video twice and have enough time to pause it and attempt the questions as recommended by us. Please be aware that by not following the instructions in the video, you're doing yourself a disservice. Your GCSEs are less than 2 years away. Do your best to fully engage with these online lessons. Again, I would like to say to you guys, since my calls home last week, a few more students have started engaging with the work. However, there are still about 25% still not engaging with the work. Now, those of you who've started engaging with the work, good, but only a small number of you are up to date with your work. So please, could you try to complete as much of the work that is missing before school closes next week on the 17th of July? Yes, school closes next week, Friday, 17th of July. That's the end of this academic year. Finally, before we move on with the lesson, I want to inform you that our last science lesson for this academic year is next Thursday, which is the 16th of July. And what does that mean? It means we'll be having an end of unit test on ecology. My suggestion is for you to start using the GCSE revision guides that were handed to you at school on the last day of school, to use that to revise this entire unit on ecology. I will do a short revision video for next week, but that won't cover everything as we are limited to making the videos maximum 25 minutes long. So please be aware of that. Next week, Thursday, the last science lesson, you'll be having an end of topic test. Start revising now. Please go through the quizzes. The questions are going to come from the quizzes, and I'm taking those questions wherein most students got the answers wrong. For example, if there were 116 students that answered this quiz and there's a particular question wherein only 25 or 30 students got it right out of the 116, that's the type of question you're going to see in the exams, in the test. So please go through questions you've missed, study the correct answers, and be ready for the test. Okay, please pause the video, have a go at these starter questions. Please pause. Right. Two processes that remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Of course, number one is dissolving in water. Number two is photosynthesis. Now, the carbon dioxide that dissolves in water. Sometimes, when the water dries up, we have formation of sediments, so leading to sedimentary rocks, and so on. And then, which conditions make decay happen at a faster rate? Warmth and moisture, or warmth and moist. List four reasons for an increase in the human population. This everybody needs to know it. This is the second or third time I'm putting it on. You need to know these four reasons. Number one, we've got a better healthcare system. Number two, we've discovered new medicines that gives us a longer lifespan. Number three, intensive farming, so we have enough food. People don't die of hunger or starvation easily as it used to happen back then. And finally, Some religions and some people don't use contraception, so therefore they have a lot of children. So those are the four reasons. We're going to remember that. Yeah. Okay. And again, the graph for the human population increase is an exponential graph. That is, it's a graph with a sharp rise or increase. It is not a linear graph. Most of you missed that question, so you'll be getting that question again in the end of topic quiz or exams. Right, let's move on. Maintaining biodiversity. So, with the increase in human population, we need more land to dispose of our waste. We need more land to build houses. We need more land for farming. And so we're destroying the forest. Deforestation goes on. We're burning the peat bogs. And all of that eventually leads to global warming, which causes reduction in biodiversity. Because when you burn the forest or you burn the trees, and then you burn the peat bog, you're releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So, um, because the forest as well as the peat bog, they are a store of carbon. Especially peat bog, they are referred to as carbon sinks. So remember that. So what we want to do, we want to find a way to reverse this process of destruction that we are on, destroying the wildlife and the ecosystems around us. Conservation is the preservation of ecosystems and the organisms that live within them. You've got to remember that definition. It's important to preserve the ecosystems and the organisms that live within them. So, scientists and concerned members of the public help maintain biodiversity by several methods. One, breeding programs, of course, which happens a lot in zoos. You go to the zoo, some of the zoo contribute a lot to the breeding program, keeping certain endangered species still alive or trying to increase their numbers. Also, we have the protection and development of what we call national parks. So in the UK, we have quite a number of national parks, but I know within East Africa and South Africa, there's a lot of national parks there again to preserve the biodiversity out there. We're also replanting hedgerows. If you go to the school park car park, you see the hedgerows there, right? We use sometimes it's like they used as boundary markers. Okay, they also have a high biodiversity. Now we want to reduce the amount of deforestation and the amount of greenhouse gases we release into the atmosphere. So um, be aware of that. And also, we need to do more recycling rather than just dumping everything in a landfill. Plastic doesn't rot easily, it stays around for years. So, we need to recycle those plastics, the cans, the bottles. We need to recycle things more, and that will save some of the land rather than taking more space for landfill sites. With the instruction of this video, I have also included this Kent Wildlife Trust. Please click on it, try reading through and going through it and see what they've been doing in preventing or preserving, I should say, the wildlife of Kent. This is a short extract from their website. So, wildlife is in crisis. The natural world isn't just something for us to enjoy, it sustains us. The decline of nature puts our very survival and prosperity under threat. It doesn't have to be like this. A vision, that is Kent Wildlife Trust, their vision is for a better, wilder future. So the thing is, if we act now, we can restore nature by creating wilder towns and cities, wilder woodlands and grassland, wilder rivers, wilder coasts and seas. A wilder Kent will benefit us all locally. It's also a chance to do our bit to tackle the global environmental threat we all face. Join us in creating a wilder Kent. We can't do it without you. So you can talk to your parents about this and just go through their websites and see what you can join with or help with or volunteer to do and so on. Okay, the other one I want you to visit is the Wingham Wildlife Park. Visit their website and see what their conservation activities are. So this is the email at the website. It's with I've posted it with the instructions of this video, so you can click on it, go there and read about their conservation activities. Okay, there are a few areas in the curriculum we just need to top up and bring to your attention that we've not actually studied. And one of them is what we call eutrophication. So basically, what this is all about is that farmers use fertilizers in their farms. Now, some of these fertilizer, when it rains, some of these fertilizers are flushed into rivers and lakes. So they go there, and then the marine plants in these rivers and lake, they thrive from these fertilizers. But one particular plant does so to its own advantage, but to the disadvantage of the others. So, and that is the algae. The algae thrives and grows, and what it does is it grows on the surface of the water, so covers the surface of the water. And that means sunlight can't go through into the water, and the other plants underneath the surface of the water doesn't get sunlight. And if they don't get sunlight, that means they can't photosynthesize. They can't photosynthesize, they cannot release oxygen into the water. Therefore, the oxygen in the water is depleted. The plants, of course, without receiving sunlight, that means they cannot photosynthesize. They are going to die as well, because that means if they cannot photosynthesize, they cannot make food for themselves. The plants die, they're going to decay there. In the decaying process, again, oxygen in the water is being used up. So more oxygen is being depleted from the water. So it gets to the point where the oxygen in the water is so low that the fish and other marine organisms within the water dies. And that's the end of the whole ecosystem there. So just the algae covering the top of the water, preventing sunlight through, can cause all those little ripple effects and lead to the death of that ecology. So these are the points being explained here. I put the points on. You can pause the video, read through the steps, and see how this happens. That leads to the fish and other organisms to die. This whole process is called, wherein we're talking about excess fertilizer, is called eutrophication. So I can give you time to pause this video, write these down, or study them. Okay, look at these three pictures, study them carefully. You can pause the video to do that. And then the questions are on the next slide. Please pause. Right. The question says, decide which of the three pictures shows an area which has the most biodiversity, and which of these three pictures show an area which has the least biodiversity. Please pause and write that down for me. I'll display the answers now. So most biodiversity, sea, because sea has both water, marine life, and also the land, the ground around that area. And by the look of things, you guess, because of the water around that area will be moist and warm and nice. So a lot of organisms will be there. Right? Sea is the least, because you can see sea looks like either a farmland or just a bare grassland. Okay. Now use the definition of the term biodiversity to explain the order you have chosen. So the most biodiverse, least biodiverse at the end, and then the middle one. So let's go. I'll display the answers. Okay, hope you had all of those explanations right, or at least a sentence from each with the key points. Let's look at question 3. That was the answer to question 3. Hope you had bits and pieces or keywords from that answer used in your answer. It's not going to be exactly the same statement, but we want keywords in the answer to be in your answer as well. Okay, Now I want to look at the lions of the Ngorongoro crater in Tanzania. A large herd of lions lived in the Ngorongoro crater in Tanzania. The population was estimated to be around 100 lions. Then one year, the population size decreased dramatically. It was estimated that only around 10 to 15 lions remained. Discuss with your families. Suggest reasons why the lion population fell so dramatically. From 100 to 15, that means they've lost about 85 lions. That is a large amount to lose. Why would scientists be worried that the lion population had fallen so rapidly? How would this fall in population affect the biodiversity of the lions in this area? Please pause the video and have a go at those questions. Here we go with the answers. Number one, possible reduction in the lions' food. That means probably the prey they used to hunt, they are no longer there. They might be being moved away or migrated or hunted to extinction. The lions as well, probably they've been hunted by humans for their meat. Perhaps there's a disease that spread through the lion population, or probably the lion might have suffered some drought or something. Okay, the next one. A rapid decline of population concerns scientists as it can cause complete loss of a population. If the population has declined by losing 85 lions, the 10 or 15 left are really endangered. They might just lose those easily as well. So, breeding and increasing the number is quite important. Also, of course, with the population going down so rapidly, there won't be much genetic diversity, and we need that as well. However, let's look at part two of the story. There was a lot of rain in the Ngorongoro crater area just before the lion population decreased dramatically. The rain led to a rapid increase in the population of a blood-sucking fly. The flies caused the lions to lose a lot of blood. The lions were left very weak and then became very thin. So they were weak and thin. How would that affect a lion? Pause the video and talk about this with your family. Okay, let's see the possible answers. Of course, saying the lions are thin and weak, that means they will not have been able to hunt effectively. So they will not have been able to catch their prey or get food. And so that's what has led to their um, decline in numbers because then too weak to hunt, they starved to death. Okay, another slide for you. Please pause the video, read through, and tell me what the answer is. Say pollution threatens biodiversity. Which of the statements about pollution is true? Pollution always kills animals. The amount of a pollutant needed to harm an individual organism is always the same. Pollutants can harm organisms without touching them. Pollution is harmful to all species and affects them in the same way. Okay, the correct answer is C, but let's look at what the other answers mean, what you need to remember. Pollutants can harm organisms without touching them. So, if you selected A, I want you to note that a pollutant can have a negative effect on an organism without killing it. Note that the amount of pollutants will affect different species and individuals differently. The size of the organism as well and the stage of their life could be important factors. Like the last time we talked about an adult whale, the amount of a particular pollutant that will kill an adult whale will be will be far greater than the amount that will kill a calf, a baby whale. A baby whale will just need a smaller amount and that is it. So you got to remember the amount or the size of the organism comes into play. And finally, if you chosen B, note that a pollutant may affect some species but not others. Now, here are some exam questions which I've just done a screenshot, lifted it, and put it on the slide. So it says every year, scientists have recorded the date when migrating birds arrive at summer breeding grounds in the UK. The records show that for every 1 degree increase in mean global temperature, the birds arrive 1 day earlier. What will the birds be competing for when they arrive at their UK breeding grounds? It's a 2 mark question. It clearly says tick 2 boxes. Choose 2 answers for me. Don't tick 1 box, please. Pause the video, select 2 answers quickly. Now, what the question is asking you is birds are animals. It says what two, just name 2 things that animals compete for. You should know 4 things that animals compete for. You should know 4 things that plants compete for. But if you remember 4 things that animals compete for, you know that it is food and mates that they will compete for. Light, it's for plants because they need light for food. So light is not one of them. It's food and mates. Next question. It says birds that arrive early might survive better than birds that arrive later. Suggest one reason for that. 1 mark. And it says global temperatures are increasing every year. This is because of an increase of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Name one greenhouse gas. Okay, the first one. The birds that arrive early might survive early. Why? Simply because they arrive early, they get more food, they get more space to build their nests. Their chicks will definitely hatch earlier and have more time to mature, so less competition, and they get more resources because they arrived early. It's like we normally say first come, first serve, you know. Now, the other one, name one, I've given you 3: carbon dioxide, methane, or we say water vapor. The main answers there actually from the exam paper was carbon dioxide and methane. But water vapor is also allowed as we normally use it, take it as a gas, as water molecules in the air also contribute to the greenhouse effect. Okay, hope you had this correct. So now you've got 4 marks in the bag. It says global warming affects the migration of animals. Give one other effect of global warming. You should know at least about 4 effects of global warming. Yep. And then the next question, which is a 2 mark question again, tick 2 boxes. Which 2 human activities cause global warming? Pause the slide, write your answers down before we continue. Okay, look at the answers. So, rising sea level rules, examples of extreme weather condition, extinction of some species and habitat loss. Of course, rising sea levels means coastal areas will be flooded. If you've written like you'll be losing coastal cities, then that is good. Like London, Amsterdam, which is Amsterdam is below sea level. So if we have rising sea level, then the part of March will be submerged on the water. Which 2 human activities affect or cause global warming? Of course, combustion of fossil fuels, that's burning fossil fuels, and of course, farming cows. Yeah, cows produce methane. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Okay, we move on next. Now, which gas in the atmosphere causes acid rain? Pause the video, have a go at that quickly. Right, acid rain is caused by sulfur dioxide. Yep, note that please. So that is it. That's the end of it. I think it's a total of something like 8 or 9 marks. 9 marks. The question had 9 marks, so be aware of that. If you had all of them correct, congratulations. That's the end of the lesson. Please move on to completing the quiz. Please study hard for your end of topic test next week. Thank you.